I'm like, oh, baby. And she's like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Greetings, gamers, and welcome back for yet another episode of the G3 Podcast. We are back. Holy crap, we are back. Check it out, guys. Want to apologize first and foremost that we've been off air for pretty much the better part of a month. That is chiefly on my part. Omega, my main rig over here, went ahead and went down beginning of last month, basically right after we recorded the last episode, because it was so damn good. I'm just kidding. But what I did is I went ahead and I had to assess what the problem was, look through some things, and I realized my motherboard crashed. You PC gamers out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about, the woes of PC gaming. That being said, it was a unique piece, and when I finally realized what it was that was actually broke, I had to go ahead and order the motherboard. That's still not going to be here for quite some time, supply and demand type constraints, and so I had to jerry-rig another setup here with the remaining components that I had, and it's not the greatest. So that being said, you're not going to see a talking head video from me the entire time. I went ahead and I was able to put together a couple video pieces to try and play catch up for the entire month that we went ahead and we were offline. So, once again, if you weren't tracking, it's none other than your boy, known as Ice on all things gaming and social media. I don't even know if that came through right now because the stuff is so wonky. That being said, we wanted to go ahead and get this to you guys. So it's going to be faster, funnier. We're just going to kind of cover some things. You'll watch some video. I'll talk about some things and talk about our impressions that we've had on the show. Unfortunately, the co-hosts have been otherwise unavailable to go ahead and put together a show. Otherwise, we would have gone ahead and done that for you guys already. And yeah, if you couldn't catch it or if you didn't make sense of it right off the top, we added a little extra animation in there, an audio piece, and that was more so something that we'll talk about later on in the show. But you know what? Let's get straight into it. So right off the jump, shortly after we went ahead and we went offline, Star Wars Jedi Survivor went ahead and came out to some pretty good critical success. Named one of the greatest Star Wars games ever, period. This follows about 5 years after our protagonist's story in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And it seems like a really great game. By all accounts, it's going ahead and getting outstanding reviews. When we take a look at OpenCritic right now, it's got an overall mighty score of 84 and an 87 critic recommendation, 87% critic recommendation. It's a great game. It came out with some hiccups regarding the PC playability, if you will, some stuttering, some frame rate issues or what have you, but at the base of it all, people have said that it is a really great game story-wise and gameplay-wise, just a couple little things with optimization, and honestly that's something that can happen in kind of a day 2, day 3 patch type of deal. So by all accounts, this is potentially one that we're going to see come out at the end of the year as a Game of the Year contender. I'm really looking forward to playing it. I haven't gotten to sink my teeth into it just yet, but if it is, again, anything compared with Fallen Order, which received a lot of great both fan and critic acclaim, then this is going to be a game just like that. So watch out for Jedi Survivor if you haven't already picked it up. Moving right into our next bit, shortly after our last aired episode, there was another game that you guys might have heard about, and it was Redfall. So the Vampire Slayer out of Bethesda's Arcane Austin went ahead, and it looked like a really appealing game, something that I think a lot of people were looking forward to, although there was a lot of mismatch in the communication about the game that had come out. We initially heard that it was going to be playable 60 frames. Turned out that it was only playable 60 frames on the PC version. And I mean, I've personally heard some different feelings insofar as playing it on the Xbox Series X. I've heard muddy, I've heard slow, and that's not just referring to the frame rate, unfortunately, because Bethesda went ahead and tried to aim pretty high, but the actual outcome was a little bit lesser than expected. Even the gameplay has been quoted as being slow and just not really up to snuff for what you would expect of a Bethesda game. That being said, this thing reviewed nowhere near as well as Xbox had hoped, with an overall OpenCritic weak rating coming in at a critics average score of 58 and a recommended, or for the fans recommending it, 14%. Not very good. Not very good, especially coming out the gate as one of Xbox's first party $70 titles. This has been one of the biggest complaints, and you've heard everything from Game Pass fodder to poor management on the part of Xbox of all their now internal studios with Bethesda. But this is not without its recourse. Xbox went ahead and has said a few things about staying the course, going ahead and putting the game out, adjusting it as necessary to better meet fans' expectations going forward in the future. And I mean, if you're looking at the trailer right now, it honestly looks pretty good. It's really upsetting that this did not meet expectations of what fans were hoping for initially, and we'll see if they can have a quality comeback. That being said, that shortly after this trailer is done, I'll show you, there's an excerpt from a kind of funny XCast interview that they did with Xbox's head Phil Spencer shortly after the release of Redfall. And the question came up, but there was actually some other stuff that Phil said which I found highly interesting, and I wanted to go ahead and highlight some of that here in a moment. Just it's wild because the internet and social media kind of took it by storm and just went all out with this thing. And quite frankly, I think they were a little out of place with their accusations and what they were saying regarding this interview with Phil. But nevertheless, I don't think it's as big of a deal than they made out to be, and I'll kind of talk about that here in a moment. Just looking forward to getting to the stage, and you'll have to forgive me because I did edit the video here, but it's not it's not edited to exactly every place that I wanted to stop. And honestly, I'm talking faster than I expected the video to pummel through all these trailers. So bear with me, guys, as we get to the part coming up here. Just check out what Phil had to say.
A lot of conversation, of course. I want to praise you and the team for really elevating the PC side of this Xbox ecosystem. I think we've seen a lot of great strides in that. But when you see the community talk about the console side of things, do you think you've lost the focus or maybe put too much onto the PC side? Do you think that the console is still getting the console love that it deserves, whether it be the homepage update, achievements, of course, looking forward and using the power of this next gen? Do you think you guys have lost that focus, or is it still there, and can we see more love on that side?
Well, we'll definitely continue to focus on making our console experience as great as it can be. I like the homepage refresh and some stuff. I will say, this might be disruptive as well. We have a different vision. Paris talked about this. It's play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want. We want Xbox to be something that people who buy our console can feel like they're a member of. Obviously, who are playing on PC, who are playing on cloud, that they feel like they're full members of our ecosystem. Game Pass players can play on many different devices, and we remain fully committed to that. We're not in the business of out-consoling Sony or out-consoling Nintendo. There isn't really a great solution or win for us. And I know that will upset a ton of people, but it's just the truth of the matter is that when you're third place in the console marketplace, and the top two players are as strong as they are and have, in certain cases, very discrete focus on doing deals and other things that will that kind of make being Xbox hard for us as a team. That's on us, not on anybody else. Our vision is that everybody who's on console has to feel like they have a great experience and they're a first class citizen. They've invested a ton in our platform. But we are not in a position, and I see it out there. I see commentary that if you just build great games, everything would turn around. It's just not true that if we go off and build great games, all of a sudden you're going to see console share shift in some dramatic way. We lost the worst generation to lose in the Xbox One generation, where everybody built their digital library of games. So when you go and you're building on Xbox, we want our Xbox community to feel awesome. But this idea that if we just focused more on great games on our console, that somehow we're going to win the console race, I think doesn't really lay into the reality of most people. Like 90% of the people every year who walk into a retailer to buy a console are already a member of one of the three ecosystems, and their digital library is there. This is the first generation where the big games that they're playing were games that were available last gen. When you think about Fortnite and Roblox and Minecraft, like the continuity from generation to generation is so strong. I see a lot of pundits out there that kind of want to go back to the time where we all had cartridges and discs and every new generation was a clean slate and you could switch the whole console share. That's just not the world that we are in today. There is no world where Starfield's an 11 out of 10 and people start selling their PS5s. That's not going to happen. So what we have to do, and we have this unique vision because we see what creators want to do. Creators want to build games that can meet players on any screen. People play with their friends regardless of what other screen they're on. And the console is the core of the Xbox brand. There's no doubt. So like we will stay focused on making sure that console experience is awesome. But I know some people want to hold us up of just being a better green version of what the blue guys do. And I'm just going to say, like, there's not a win for Xbox in staying in the wake of somebody else. We have to go off and do our own thing with Game Pass, with the stuff we do with xCloud, and the way we build our games. Sorry, I was a little long-winded.
No, that was perfect. And unfortunately, we
So
do have
pretty long-winded there by Phil, but I hope you guys were able to catch what I caught in that. Going ahead and it's probably the first acknowledgement that we've ever actually heard of Xbox going ahead and having any type of rack and stack placement by way of the big three, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo. Phil going ahead and acknowledging that they as a company, as a publisher, are in third place. But then more so, the stuff that you probably heard that everybody kind of took by storm in the news was the fact of Xbox, the mentality being they're not really gunning for that first place anymore, that narrative of just make great games and it'll all go well. And to a good point, I agree with what Phil is saying insofar as, the Xbox One generation was the worst generation to lose. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. What you're seeing right now is Asus went ahead and announced the Republic of Gamers, the ROG Ally. And so this is two different versions that they are coming out with. And the low end, I believe we said, is around $500, and the higher end is around $600. This thing is supposed to be a Steam Deck competitor. Some would argue it's a Steam Deck killer. It's a pretty impressive piece of tech, quite honestly. For the price point, though, I don't know if the price point was dictated more so by the availability of hardware solutions and components that they could go ahead and put into it. It is quite the struggle, though, insofar as being able to afford that price point. And I know a lot of gamers are on board with the idea, and I know some other gamers aren't super crazy about it. It's also kind of interesting to me, stupid humor, but I thought it was interesting that the Steam Deck is kind of your matte black finish, and then the ROG Ally is white with black accents. And to me, it's just kind of funny because they almost seem like they are spec built as competitors in that regard. But nevertheless, you see a lot of the cool design aspects regarding this thing, from first access types, influencers that I've seen have access and hands-on with this device. I've heard people say that the fan is really impressive for how low the sound output is compared with when they're going ahead and playing whatever games. The grips and the ability to hold this thing is light. It's, you know, heavier than a Switch, but lighter than a Steam Deck, and yet it goes ahead and it has all the Windows features that you might expect of a Windows PC, so you can play all of your different PC clients on there, whether it be Game Pass, you know, downloading stuff to the device. I believe folks have said that you can stream, and then there's, I mean, you name it, Steam, Epic Games, GOG, whatever it is you want to put on there, you should be able to put on there without having a jailbreak or work around the system. And yeah, as you can see it right now, $600 and $700 actually was what the price points were. So it's not a you know, a small ask for gamers, especially when you're talking about the mobile space. Something else that came up, something that is near and dear to my heart. Ed Boon and the folks over at NetherRealm Studios went ahead and announced the second coming, if you will, and that being this new title, Mortal Kombat 1. A lot of fans were expecting that it was going to be Mortal Kombat 12 or something thereafter. You know, we're talking about Mortal Kombat 11 and Aftermath being kind of the you know, the true end game storyline stuff to Mortal Kombat 11. But right now you're looking at what looks to be some really awesome gameplay with a lot of your classics. You got who appears to be Kung Lao. I think we saw Raiden in there. Melina is going to get seen right here. Yep, looking all fine with them nasty ass teeth. Kitana's in there. Scorpion, Sub-Zero. I mean, you name it. You got all the heavy hitters by way of a Mortal Kombat title. And this is supposed to be, by all accounts and by what the NetherRealm and NetherRealm team and Ed Boon have said, is this is going to be not only a spiritual reboot, but it's going to continue the storyline. Now, how it's actually going to go ahead and continue the storyline from Mortal Kombat 11, I think that's the pieces that we're looking for. As fans, we're looking for some tie-ins to make things, you know, kind of more holistic. And right now you're getting to see a fan favorite return in Shang Tsung. So this looks to be a pretty epic game. We're going to see some crazy ass executions and stuff going on right now. So I'm going to go ahead and shut up and let this the rest of this play out real quick.
You have chosen to defy peace. Then you have chosen war with a god.
Dude, was that just not epic? Was something about Mortal Kombat. They like to go ahead and just go overkill on so many things, and it's laughable and crazy at the same time. So this got announced for a September 19th release date, and I'm all for it. Shortly after the Mortal Kombat 1 reveal, you had PlayStation did a showcase. Showcase is probably not the right word, but they did go ahead and show off a few things, including this much rumored Project Q, which turns out to be an in-house, and I say in-house being you're going to have to use this thing on the same Wi-Fi network as your PS5 in order to stream games to it. Why you'd want to do that and who this is marketed for, I don't know. They do have some snazzy little Sony, you know, PlayStation 5 color-schemed earbuds that are also available in case you want to, I don't know, abandon your family and go hide in the basement because someone's using the TV and you only have one TV in the house. I don't know who it's marketed for. I'm sorry. That being said, we're looking for more information coming on that in the future. The one big takeaway from the showcase, I would say, is probably this one right here, and it is Spider-Man 2. We'd known the game's coming, but we finally got to see a whole lot more of the gameplay. You'll have to forgive me because Sony went ahead and was super what's the word? They were putting a lot of bets in on Spider-Man 2 because in the, I want to say it was an hour and a half or something like an hour and a half showcase presentation, about 12 minutes was put in as just Spider-Man 2, trailer and gameplay alone, a mix of cinematics along with gameplay. And I'll tell you what, the cuts that I made here do not do it justice. Spider-Man 2 is looking like a fantastic game. I'm really looking forward to it. Spider-Man 1 or Spider-Man 2018, whichever way you want to look at it. Call me a Spider-Man aficionado, a fan, whatever. I was in tears finishing the story. Maybe not like bawling, but there was a couple rolling down the cheek. And so Insomniac Games have gone ahead and promised that Spider-Man 2 is going to be more of the same. You're going to have your heavy-packed action sequences, really great gameplay, storyline that's going to have you both emotional and exhilarating at different points during the story. And come on, I mean, we get Black Spider-Man. You get the symbiote Spider-Man here. So this is going to be a really awesome game. And then the combination of Peter Parker and Miles Morales, you get to see that relationship fleshed out a bit more, as well as some characters we haven't really seen before in the Spider-Man universe to this scale, be it Venom, Kraven, the Lizard. It's going to be really awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. The graphics look absolutely insane, and being built specifically for PS5, I do not think this thing is going to disappoint. So it was unfortunate that they didn't give us any more regarding this, reveal date for the game, or really anything more for the PlayStation Showcase. I'm honestly kind of disappointed, and I'll talk about that more a little bit later. Next one, just the rest of the schedule, guys. So if you're looking forward to more stuff coming out from us, we'll try to become a little more regular. We got the Summer Game Fest coming out June 8th, and you got stuff coming back-to-back. Digital Devolver's presentation is also going to be on June 8th. Tribeca Game Spotlight, June 9th. And then rolling on into June 11th, 1 week from today when I'm recording this, is going to be the Xbox Game Showcase, as well as a Starfield Direct that I think everybody's looking forward to, and then a PC Gaming Showcase. So I want to thank you guys for sticking around in this video. Literally, I'm gonna try and do what we can to make sure that we stay online, or I'll get the other guys to hop back on as best they can to provide you some quality content. In the time that the video was playing and you heard me talking in the background, my camera ducked out twice. So the current setup of Omega is not really very quality for what we're trying to do by giving you guys a really great podcast. But I hope that you stick with us. If you liked us coming back, first and foremost, and if you like to see more stuff coming out of the G3 podcast, feel free to like, subscribe, share with a friend. We really look forward to getting your feedback. Again, my deepest apologies that we haven't been able to be online in the last month. That was chiefly due to my production setup here going completely awry, trying to spot check that. But again, if you're anything like me and PC gamer and you build your own PCs, you hopefully know what I'm talking about when it comes to failed parts and this, that, and the other. So a couple little recaps. Something I didn't talk about in the video, because honestly I didn't want the video to get taken down. We had another little title. You might have heard of it before. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom came out on May 8th. That thing has just been an absolute banger. It's got an overall mighty OpenCritic rating, 96, both for the average critics and the recommended. So that game is most definitely, if not already, the game of the year. It is an absolute heavy contender, and I've heard nothing but fantastic things. Maybe we'll get Snipe 90 to come on and talk about it a little bit, because I know he's been dipping a whole bunch of hours in there. I have not personally got to experience it yet myself, but I've heard nothing but great things. Coming right up around the corner in 2 days, we got Diablo 4. So I can speak to this one a little bit. I got into 2 of the different server tests, and I thought the game was really awesome. Having never been in a Diablo game before, I think maybe I somehow dabbled into the very first Diablo, but it didn't really stick with me. This game has got me going. I want to get my hands on it. I want to get into it a little bit more and see how that world I've heard mixed reviews kind of on the story, but nevertheless, it's got an overall mighty critic rating right now on OpenCritic, as well as an 89 top critic score with a 96% recommend. So this is probably going to be a contender for one of your game of the years. I'm just going to call it right now. Just expect it. Also, something that just came out, and I'm really looking forward to playing this, although you wouldn't know it by the shirt that I'm wearing. Street Fighter 6 out of Capcom has finally gone ahead and hit release, and the game looks awesome. I'm really excited to do the actual Street Fighter type component to the game where you're going, and I've heard a lot of different takes where you get to mold your character based on different challenges from other Street Fighter characters. And I'm probably not doing it any justice when I talk about this, but if there was ever to be a second coming of Street Fighter, this is that game with an overall mighty rating. We got 92% on OpenCritic, 98% critic recommend. I don't know why. Did I talk about this, or did we have the video? I thought we had the video on this. Anywho, we already talked about Summer Game Fest and a whole bunch of cool stuff coming up. That's it. I don't want to keep you guys any longer. Once again, thank you guys for checking out this video. We'll try to get it up as soon as my rig will cooperate. That being said, once again, like, subscribe, share with a friend. We'll probably, there's no point in me even talking about releases coming out in the next week, because you guys will probably hear about it. Things are just going to take everything by storm, and you're going to hear nothing but headlines left and right from the Summer Games Fest, the Xbox Showcase, and everything. But feel free, if you want, get into the comment section. Let us know what you are looking forward to of the Xbox Game Showcase. We got a lot of different titles out there that could possibly be, have a little more light shed on them or announced altogether. So if there's something you're really looking forward to, at least out of Xbox first party, let us know, and we'll go ahead and see if we can talk about that a little more. But with that, just remember, guys, gaming's greatest generation is one you guys are a part of.